Ask Dr. Khan Show. This is episode number 125. I'm Dr. Peter Khan, functional medicine practitioner. And on the show, I give you information that's going to help you solve your health puzzle and help you get well and stay well. Now, today I'm going to talk about gluten. Now, you may have heard a lot about gluten already from reading about it, from just seeing gluten-free products everywhere. But is gluten actually real? I mean, is this actually something that can cause problem for some people? Or is it all just a big fad? So today I'm going to dispel some myth about gluten, about why testing that's done in a medical doctor's office is insufficient, and why it's missed for a lot of people. And a lot of people they actually have a problem with it, but they don't know how to interpret how they're feeling with it. So I'm going to explain all of that to you today. And just give me a shout out today by giving me a thumbs up if this is your first time watching the show. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much. And give me some hearts if you've been following me for a long time and you've been loving the content. Give me some hearts so I can feel your love. See, the more love and the more thumbs up and the more engagement I get, the more I engage with you, the more I give you of myself. I'm busy. I literally have an appointment in 20 minutes with somebody else. So I have one of the busiest functional medicine practice in the country, but I take time out to give this information to you because I can't help every single person, and there's a lot of you who just don't know me yet. So I'm going to give you information so that you know that there's reliable sources of information. Now I'm going to give you stuff that's no BS, no nonsense. It's going to cut straight to the chase. That information that you can trust, that is shareable, that you can share with other people. Okay, so let's talk about gluten today. Now, gluten is a protein found in wheat, but also in other grains as well, such as barley, rye, and some people say oats. However, oats natively does not contain any gluten. Okay, so oats contains gluten in the United States because of the way they're stored. Oats in the United States are usually stored in big silos where they also store other gluten-containing grains like wheat. So you get a lot of cross-contamination. That's why oats in America, if you were to buy them, if you have gluten sensitivity or celiac disease, you have to buy certified gluten-free oats. However, in Europe, they don't store oats like that in big silos with other things. So it tends to be safer. In Europe, the oats actually are gluten-free just the way it is without any special, gluten-free certifications. So know that oats in the United States is problematic as far as gluten contamination. So gluten is a protein found in various different type of wheat or other grains. However, know that there are different types of gluten. Okay, so here's a wheat. So say that's a wheat grain, one grain of wheat. Okay, in the grain we have the germ, right? That's called the wheat germ. Okay, and the rest of it is the wheat itself. Now the wheat then contains gluten, which is a type of protein found in wheat. Now there are other proteins found in wheat that are not gluten, but gluten is one type of protein found in wheat. Okay. Now under the category of gluten, there are many different types of gluten. We have gliadin, which is a type of gluten compound. We also have glutenin, okay? And we also have things called exorphins. There you go. So there are different type of gluten compound. What's even more confusing is that under gliadin, there are many different types of gliadin. So we have things like alpha gliadin, beta gliadin, gamma gliadin, right? Many different types. And so same thing as under glutenin, we have many different types. We have glutenin that are called high molecular weight glutenin and low molecular weight. Under exorphins, we may have things like gluteomorphine, and we have sorry about the erasing here, casomorphine. So we have many different types of gluten compound. Now why is that important? This comes to testing. When you go to a medical practitioner, whether this is a GI specialist, right, any kind of conventional medical doctor, Western medical doctor, when they test for gluten, they have this idea, this notion, which is a myth, which is inaccurate, that the only time you have problem with gluten is if you have celiac disease. Okay? Now, celiac disease is an autoimmune disease where the immune system is attacking the intestine. So inside your intestine, if we were to draw your intestinal tract, inside your intestinal tract is not round like this, right? The intestinal surface actually has these finger-like projections. So inside of your intestinal lining looks like with these fingers sticking out, like this. And these finger-like projections are called the villi. Villi in Latin means finger. And so you have these villus projections that increase the surface area of your intestine for help you to absorb nutrient. Celiac disease is an autoimmune disease where the immune system is attacking the villi, and it literally causes villus atrophy because the finger-like projection literally gets destroyed. So the shag carpeting literally gets worn thin, and now instead of being finger-like projection, now it's blunted. Now it becomes like this instead of being like this. So this is normal, and this is celiac. Okay, the finger-like projection, literally the immune system is attacking these linings until it's completely worn out. And what happens when you have that is you get malabsorption, you get inflammation, you get leaky gut. Much of the leaky gut study is coming from celiac disease study, because really celiac disease is just the worst form of leaky gut. Is people with a pathological presentation that turns into villus atrophy, and that's leaky gut to the nth degree. But you don't have to have celiac to have leaky gut. And also, you don't have to have celiac to have gluten sensitivity. The problem with, in the medical profession, in the Western medicine, they think that the only people that have problem with gluten is people with celiac disease, which is not true, because there's a condition called non-celiac gluten sensitivity. I'm going to put celiac back down here. Oh, sorry, I was writing gluten here. So I was describing gluten, and there are many different types of gluten. We have celiac disease, which is an autoimmune disease where gluten causes more of this. Okay? Now, but you also have a condition called the non-celiac gluten sensitivity. What that means is you don't have celiac disease, but you're reacting to gluten sensitivity nonetheless. If you go to PubMed, you just go to like Google Scholar, that's where all the scientific journals, you can search it. You type in NCGS or non-celiac gluten sensitivity. This is an actual condition that is all of the medical literature. Like we know that this exists. But when it comes to Western medicine, there's a disconnect, right? There's a disconnect between Western medicine and what you're actually experiencing. There's a disconnect between Western medicine and what the scientific literature actually shows. What's happening with people with gluten sensitivity. Okay, now there's two different terms, and I have talked about this in previous episodes of the Ask Dr. Khan show. You have allergies, and you have sensitivities. Allergies versus sensitivity. There are two different responses. Allergy means you're allergic to something. An allergy is an immediate reaction that you usually get a reaction right away, like peanut allergy. My daughter has grade 5 anaphylaxis to peanut. That's an allergy. She's have life-threatening response because if she touch peanut, she can throat can shut down, she can die from that. Sensitivity is a delayed response. That may come 3 to 5 days after you eat it. You may not feel it. You may feel very subtle symptoms. That's not even GI symptoms. And so there's a sensitivity, there's an allergy. You can be allergic to wheat or gluten, or you can be sensitive to gluten. They're two different things. Medical doctors typically only check for allergies. If you go to an allergist, they're testing for allergy to gluten, but not to sensitivity to gluten. That's two different reactions. They don't usually test that. And then in the case of gluten sensitivity or celiac disease, they only test for specific. So this is where testing comes in. The reason I'm explaining to you that's different portions of gluten is that medical doctors or your conventional medical tests, or most of the tests out there actually, only test for the alpha gliadin portion. alpha-gliadin. This is the only peptide, the only type of gluten that they test is this type. The problem is, we know that gluten can have over 50 different types of peptides. Alpha, beta, gamma, different type of glutenins. We can have gluteomorphine, different type of exorphins. We have over 50 different types. So what happens is if you test only one alpha-gliadin out of all 50 different type of gliadin, you can miss it. It's like checking 1 out of 50. What if you have one of the other gluten sensitivities? That's not the one they test. So that's why so many people have a misdiagnosis. They test alpha-gliadin. Maybe they're not reacting to this one, but they're reacting to this one, they're reacting to this one, and they're reacting to this one. So every time they eat wheat or gluten, they feel bad just the same because it's triggering an immune response. But their doctor tells them, hey, you don't have gluten sensitivity. Go ahead and eat gluten. That's not your problem. While every time you eat it, you're literally destroying your gut. You're causing leaky gut. Because we know that gluten can bind to zonulin and cause leaky gut. So let me show you. Here is your intestinal tract. Let's draw that out again. Like this. These are the cells that line your intestinal tract. If we blow this up, here's your epithelial lining. These are the cells that line your intestinal tract. There are proteins that hold the cells together. These proteins are like zippers that can hold the tight junctions together. Gluten is known to bind to these tight junction protein and damage it. When this tight junction protein gets damaged, the space between these cells becomes wider. Okay, now this is on a microscopic level, on a cellular level. So you can't see it with an endoscopy or colonoscopy, which is what these Western medical practices do. They do endoscopy, colonoscopy. Oh, it's really fancy test, expensive test. Just because it's expensive doesn't mean it's going to tell you everything. That's why all your tests are normal, but you still feel horrible, because if you do the wrong test or the test is not looking at the right thing, you're not going to get any answer. So this is happening at a cellular level. You can't see it with an endoscopy or colonoscopy. So the doctor says, hey, your endoscopy, colonoscopy is normal. You don't have sensitivity to alpha-gliadin, so you don't have gluten sensitivity. While this is happening every day to you because you're told that you can eat gluten, and when in fact you're reacting to gluten just the same, it's creating this leaky gut. And what happens, large proteins now can leak through the gut. This triggers inflammation. Now this inflammation doesn't just stay in your gut, it actually travels throughout the blood. So there's no such thing as localized inflammation, there's only systemic inflammation. Because every time your heart pumps through circulation, these inflammation molecules circulate throughout the entire body. So now when the inflammation molecule lands in your joint, you get joint pain or arthritis. Do you get arthritis? Do you have inflammation? Do you feel stiffness in your joint? Perhaps you're inflamed because of this mechanism. This inflammation can actually get into your muscles, so you can have muscle pain. So maybe you get diagnosed with fibromyalgia. What the heck is that? Nothing except you hurt. Why do you hurt? We don't know. You have fibromyalgia. Here's a drug for it. Nobody's looking at the root cause. This could be a mechanism for why you're inflamed and now your muscle hurt. Or this inflammation chemical can actually cross the blood-brain barrier, and it can trigger brain inflammation. So next thing you know, you get brain fog, memory loss, short-term memory issues, you can't concentrate, you get depression, you get anxiety, you get all these weird neurological symptoms, and your doctor says you're crazy, put you on antidepressant, when this may be the mechanism for why you're having inflammation causing brain symptoms. So this is called treating the root cause. The standard medical tests test only one portion of this gluten complex when this gluten complex contains over 50 peptides and counting. So the test that we do, it's a test that's not regular doctors don't do, because the reason the test that we order, the regular doctors don't do, because there's no drug or surgery for this type of problem. There's no drug or surgery for gluten sensitivity, right? Because when there's no drugs or surgery, it doesn't make the drug company or the medical industry billions of dollars, so nobody talks about it. There's no revenue. There's no economics in it, so they don't talk about it. Guess what happens if you have gluten sensitivity? You quit eating gluten. So nobody's really benefiting from that unless you're just buying gluten-free food, which you don't have to buy gluten-free food. I mean, lettuce, tomato, healthy meat, healthy fat, right? Things like that. It's not gluten-free. I mean, it's gluten-free, but it's not like you have to go out of your way to spend more money. You're already eating meat and veggie, just eat more of those. So people say, oh, eating gluten-free is so expensive. That's only if you don't know what you're doing, right? If you work with us and we teach you how to do it, it's actually really easy. And it's actually enjoyable. It's actually delicious. That's why we have the mixed recipe show to teach you how to do a lot of this, right? And it doesn't have to cost more money. It could be actually less expensive because you actually started eating real food for once instead of processed packaged food. So you just got to know how to do it, and we can help you with that, right? So you got to understand that just because you don't have celiac disease doesn't mean you can't have gluten sensitivity. Although the medical model don't tell you that, but that's the truth. That's what it shows up on scientific literature. Let me share a couple of things with you here as well. So this is all from the scientific literature. Okay, this is from the 2017 study. This particular paper says that it's worth mentioning that Hashimoto patients, so now we're talking about thyroid, autoimmune to the thyroid, it's worth mentioning that Hashimoto patients with or without celiac disease, Hashimoto, people with autoimmune, Hashimoto thyroid, with or without, even if you don't have celiac disease, can benefit from a diet low in gluten or gluten-free as far as the progression and the potential disease complications are concerned. So meaning, translation, if you have autoimmune disease, especially Hashimoto's, scientific research has shown that cutting out gluten, even though you don't have celiac disease, can benefit Hashimoto's. This is straight out of the paper. It's not like just my opinion. Well, I do have an opinion on it because I've helped over 5,000 people doing this, and I've seen the change happen with this population. Now, I'm going to tell you, going gluten-free is just one thing, right? Because a lot of people can have sensitivity to more than just gluten. So there's such a thing called gluten cross-reaction. So there's a thing called cross-reaction. You probably can't see that because this pen is dying. Let me use a different color here. Cross-reaction. This is an important concept because gluten, through molecular mimicry, that means here's a protein like gluten, and here's a protein of, say, something that's gluten-free. Let's say rice. This is rice. Let's just say this is gluten. And even other food that are gluten-free. Your immune system may see gluten and rice because they're so similar in structure, they can mistake this rice just like it's gluten. So your immune system can't tell the difference. Say, hey, it looks just about the same, so I'm going to react to this thing just like it's gluten because I think it is gluten. That's called cross-reaction. So you can cross-react to things that are gluten-free. So what are some of the common cross-reactions? Corn is a common cross-reactive substance to gluten. So what happens is some people that have gluten sensitivity, when they eat corn, your immune system may also react to corn as well, even though corn is gluten-free. This is where people go gluten-free. They buy gluten-free cracker, gluten-free bread, all these gluten-free products. It's just as bad for them, and they don't feel any better because going gluten-free may not be enough. Because you can cross-react to other food, like corn, like rice, like oats, like millet. You can cross-react to a number of different things. Dairy is a common cross-reaction. Gluten and dairy can cross-react, so that's why most people with Hashimoto, we tell them to cut out gluten and dairy, but that's not all. There may be other things you can cross-react to. You need to find out what those are, or we just go ahead and institute an elimination diet, but eliminating the food is not enough if you don't put out the fire. So that's where anti-inflammatory comes in. That's where healing the leaky gut's really important with certain nutritional compound, and that's what we do in our program. There's a protocol approach that we take that's customized, but follow some of these physiological principles so that we can address the priorities. There's a priority system in your body, and you can't just go on a wild goose chase and take every supplement known to mankind and thinking that just because it's natural, it's all good. You got to address the root cause, specific to you, because your root cause may be different than somebody else's root cause. So don't message me or comment on Facebook, say, doctor, what do I take for my thyroid? I don't know what you take for your thyroid. Doc, I have this, what do I take for that? I don't know what you take for that. It depends on what's causing that. It depends on what's caused that, the root cause of the root cause of the root cause. You address that, you get better. Simple as that, because we see it all the time in my practice. When we start to apply the right principle, people get better. Now, it doesn't mean it's easy, doesn't mean this magic pill, doesn't mean it's overnight. You got to work on it. That's why we don't work with everyone. Only those who are committed to identifying the root cause, and they want to do the right things for the right reason. They have the long game. We're looking at the long game here. We want you to get well and stay well for the rest of your life, not just temporarily feel good for today and mess yourself up tomorrow, or 2 months down the line, you're back to where you are. So hopefully this helps you. Again, gluten-free is just one piece of the puzzle. It's not the whole piece. However, gluten in people with autoimmune disease can definitely play a big factor, especially for people with Hashimoto's. Gluten, just one food, because you can cross-react to other food, so you need to cut out more than just gluten, and we also need to heal leaky gut. Know that just because you don't have celiac disease doesn't mean you don't have gluten sensitivity. Don't make that mistake. You can do the right test. We do that. We can help you with that. If you need help, you can message us. You can schedule a case review where we can do a deep dive, find out what you've done in the past, identify the blind spots. We can run the right tests for you to help you identify the root cause. We do this with people all over the country through telemedicine, video consultation. So it doesn't matter where you are. That's not a reason to not get quality health care from us. So feel free to message us. Call us at 480-988-6269. I'll put the numbers and the contact info on this list to help you today, because we're talking about leaky gut and gluten sensitivity and all that, and Hashimoto's. I'm going to give you the gut repair program for free. This is a neurometabolic gut repair program, something that I designed specifically for people with leaky gut and Hashimoto's. It's an eating plan. Now, this is not a treatment plan. This is not for you to self-diagnose, self-treat. This is just free information to educate you, but it's something you can take action on and implement. I believe it will help you if you implement it. If you do this and you feel improvement, that means leaky gut, inflammation, and food sensitivity is part of your problem. If you do the neurometabolic gut repair program, you feel some improvement, but not all the way better. You may have other things going on more than just diet. For example, infections, toxins. You may have a hormone imbalance. You may have toxicity. You may have heavy metal issues. You may have viral infection. Those are the things that we need to do tests. And you can't eat healthy. You can't eat your way out of that. You can't supplement your way out of that. You need to find out the root cause and address those, and we can help you with that. So hopefully that helps you. Please like and share this video with as many people as possible. It is my goal to get the message out there, because there's a right way to do things and there's a wrong way to do things. Just because you're taking a supplement doesn't mean it's the right way to do things, because you can mess yourself up with supplements when you have autoimmune. We'll talk about that in future episodes, and we've talked about it in past episodes. So go to our YouTube channel. We have over 500 videos there. It is at YouTube at, I believe it's Peter Khan DC or Dr. Peter Khan. Just look for the bald-headed Chinese guy. There's not many bald-headed Chinese guys online. That's a doctor. That's this good looking. So it should be pretty easy to narrow. So please like and share our videos. If you have any questions, post the question in the comment section. We'll get back to you. We'll answer them. We seek to answer every question in the comment section. Okay? And I'm also going to put the link to the neurometabolic gut repair program. Go to askdrkhan.com/gut repair. You can enter your email. We'll email you this program that I use with over 5,000 of our clients. That's clinically proven. We get results that you could do on your own. How's that? So that's value. That's helping you to get better. And if you need help beyond that, please give us a call. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week at the Ask Dr. Khan Show. Take care.